Actually, Gavin, we were talking yesterday about the holes that appeared in defence. We can see Richard Hill there in the foreground. The England back row is one of the key strengths of that side, isn't it? And you couldn't imagine Delalio back and Hill letting gaps appear around the fringes like the French, shall we say, allowed for Scotland yesterday.
Well, you're absolutely right, Jonathan. And you know, we have to just assume that these guys are going to play extremely well. I think they're very, very experienced players. For my mind, Neil Back just never has a bad game. Lawrence Delalio, the England captain, has played brilliantly and is a great leader. And also Richard Hill, to my mind, is a great number 6 as well. So I believe that they're a tremendous competition and they're very, very competitive.
Not the most tumultuous reception as you would expect for Lawrence Delalio and his men as they come out. So, if you were Graham Henry, there's a big banner down below us actually here that says Graham Henry for the Welsh Assembly. Well, maybe that will have to be an option if things don't go too well on the rugby field. If you were Graham Henry, how would you beat this England team, Gavin?
Well, I think that they have to take a leaf out of the book the way they played in the Stade de France. They ran the French team ragged, and you know, I believe that England haven't played the most expansive rugby, and obviously they've got to target, as Jonathan said, the younger players in there, and Barry John Mather, I think he has a bit of inexperience, and Dan Luger, Steve Hanley, relatively inexperienced, and I believe that given the conditions, if Wales can move the ball wide, then they have an excellent opportunity.
The Welsh team about to come out, I'm sure, to a fantastic reception. Kieran, we were talking, listen to this, fantastic. We were talking before the game about who the key figures for England might be, and you were talking about Mike Catt, because he hasn't got Jerry Guscott as a sort of a calming influence outside him. So in a sense, as a decision maker, it's much more on his shoulders today. Is he man enough for it?
Yeah, Mike's, you know, played a lot of his career at Bath, and most of his rugby, his outstanding rugby, has been with the players around him that are outstanding players, the Jerry Guscotts, the Stuart Barnes, and now there's a lot of pressure on him to lead this very young back line. But not only Mike, who's got a leader, obviously Matt Dawson is a very experienced player at number 9, and the two of them have to control the game.
Can you realistically see England losing this?
I'm hoping that the Welsh will go out there and run the ball from everywhere, and our defence will be too strong for them, and there'll be a few turnover balls, and like you say, with our quick, strong back row, that we'll be able to convert that into points.
And given the strength of this English team, in bulk, if nothing else, Jonathan, do you not think that in the last 15, 20 minutes that the English might just get complete control of the game?
If we've got a tackle, you know, for the majority of the game, the boys will tie, especially in the heat. But I just feel that we have to, you know, win our own possession, and if we do attack, you know, attack when it's on. His point is running slow ball, as Kieran said, because you're going to run into the brick wall. They seem to defend in zones across the field, and they've got to have, you know, pick up and drive through the middle of the ruck. And the Quinells have got to be, you know, awesome today, defence and attack.
Deciding vote, Gavin?
Well, I think it's going to be a very close game, and it might just come down to the goal kickers. You've got two of the best in the world, and maybe one miss might just cost their team the victory.
So it could be Johnny Wilkinson against Neil Jenkins. The two teams in front of the royal box for the national anthems. So if England win, the championship and the Grand Slam is theirs. If Wales win, the championship goes to Scotland. Commentators Eddie Butler and Bill McLaren.
And for all the great sporting events that have been staged in this famous Wembley Stadium, none can have generated any more enthusiasm or national fervour than this closing contest of the '99 Five Nations Championship. Wales seeking to take a second heavyweight scalp, with this team holding faith in the side who scored 6 tries against Italy a fortnight ago. Those backs have shared 45 cap international tries. The Jenkins and Captain Hanley hinge for the 18th time. A strong onus on that beefy pack to stay upside, especially that new-look front row, as well as Brett Simpkinson vying with Neil Back for hunting dog honours. Although England's 4 3/4 claim only 16 caps, there's significant physical presence imparted by the 2 new caps, Barry John Mather and Steve Hanley. Matt Perry, a threat in attack augmentation. Mike Catt's tactical selection's a key element in wake of that mighty pack containing Lawrence Delalio, captain for the 14th time. A former standoff with Stellenbosch University in South Africa is the referee Andre Watson, a full-time official who has refereed the Currie Cup final, Hong Kong Sevens, 7-cap international. This is his 8th, including England versus Australia twice, but he hasn't refereed Wales until today. So the final stage of this Five Nations about to be set in motion. A lovely day, a capacity audience, a Grand Slam decider. Wales to kick off through Neil Jenkins on a lovely sunny afternoon, and Jenkins gets it going and switches it the other way. And so a very good kick indeed that by Matt Perry, the England fullback from Bath. It's his 17th international today. Now this is going to be a fascinating area this afternoon, and there Wyatt did wonderfully well. Taken by Gibbs, onto Jenkins. Wales running at them. Tremendous stuff that as Duffett James got going. There's the drive on by Colin Jarvis. Dead on halfway. Jenkins once more. Scott Quinnell versus 4 Englishmen. Jenkins, chip kick over the head of Steve Hanley there, and what a kick that was. A great start for Neil Jenkins and for Wales.
The build-up to this international has just been the most electrifying atmosphere of all time. I went to the World Cup final in '95 and thought that was taking sport to a new level, but this is just brilliant. English defence now against Welsh attack. It's going to be a special afternoon.
And there you see Martin Johnson just moving back there, did well. Without an awful lot of support lift there, Martin Johnson virtually on his own. Dawson with the high one. Thomas waits. But a loud blast for crossing and obstructing, penalty to England. Taken very quickly by Dawson. Hill with the pickup. Just inside English territory. Along there, nicely there to Wilkinson, but he was heavily tackled. There's a great bust by Perry. Perry over the 10 metres line. There's a great chance here, and it could be a try for Luger. Oh, what a start. What an incredible score. Dan Luger, his 4th try for England. 5-0, 2.5 minutes played. Sensation here. Dan Luger, his 7th international, his 4th try.
Boring England. Well, here we go. Missed Welsh tackles there. The quickly taken penalty always catches a defence flat-footed. And Dan Luger the finish, but really early tackles missed.
The conversion attempt by Johnny Wilkinson, who's kicked 16 out of 17 for England, and there's another. 7 points to nil, England lead. They've played only 3 minutes. And there, a marvellous bit of running it was by Dan Luger. Remember, he's playing on the right wing, whereas normally he's been on the left. And there, well, he had all the pace, and Tougheth James just couldn't catch him. A sizzling start. The Coral Legions seek to lift Welsh confidence. Delalio. There's the white blanket going in, but interference on the floor, holding in, a penalty to Wales.
Wales have got to make the first tackle. Brett Jenkinson allowed Lawrence Delalio to take it a yard and a half beyond the first point of contact, and Wales, well, they got the penalty, but it's just the first contact has got to be more vigorous than that. It was Scott Gibbs in the end who made the big crunch, but the centre shouldn't be coming in to do the forwards' jobs for them.
Well, Neil Jenkins got his first cap against England in '91. Today he's playing in his 64th international, and he lies second in the top point scorers and internationals in the history of the game. 704 points in 64 tests. Neil Jenkins looks good. It is good. So the lad has done it again. 7 points to 3, 5 minutes played. And already thoughts that this game might live up to the standard set in Paris just yesterday. So there is the loose head prop forward for Wales, Peter Rodgers, who plays for London Irish, got his first cap as a 30-year-old. Nice lofted restart by Mike Catt. Howley did well, he was in real bother there. Jenkins is going to play scrum half. Well, there's a good effort for you. Chris Wyatt with the touch kick.
Jenkins scrum half, Wyatt outside half. Who cares nowadays?
Certainly Chris Wyatt has impressed in the line-out for Wales in this championship. But there, Rodber up high, Dawson out. Forwards taking over. Welsh 10 metres line, Rodber once again, Dawson. Delalio, 3 red jerseys on him, including Garen Jenkins, who were there. Hands off, the referee was shouting. Dawson. Chip kick through by Catt. A great race here, but Gareth Thomas should be back first of all. He's going to have to kick for touch. He took it over, but good covering by him. Gareth Thomas there of Cardiff, his 33rd international, was nursing a little tweaky hamstring the other day, but he looks all right.
It's the alternative, isn't it? You hit 3 times through the hands, and then the chip over the top. Always going to create problems, but Gareth Thomas, wise old head covering back there. The wing in for the fullback. In fact, he had so much time, I think he'll be a bit disappointed with this kick.
Injured player there is Scott Quinnell. Remember, he went from Llanelli to Wigan Rugby League Club and then back to Richmond in '96. Well, that's the kind of day it is. Lovely sunny afternoon, a lot of blue sky, and Wembley, well, packed with 76,000. And here's a real worry for Wales. Mark Davis, the physiotherapist, the former Swansea international flanker there, tending to Scott Quinnell.
Scott Quinnell saying, my roots are showing, my roots are showing.
Cockrell a great throw, Rodber a great catch. There's the white tidal wave. Dawson has a little kick, leaves it to the forwards. Cockrell doing well. Rodber on the drive. They're only 12 metres out. Loud blast, and it's a penalty to England. Yes, but I think there may be been a bit of foul play seen by the Dutch judge. Just let's wait and see. Matt Dawson all right, and Lawrence Dallaglio has already decided that England will take the kick at goal.
England clearing out well at the scrummage there. I think the original penalty was for Wales not being behind the rear foot, but then on the touch judge's advice, Darren Garforth, I think, for taking somebody off the ball. Oh, punch. It was a punch.
Darren Garforth, England's tight head. Neil Jenkins, Wales's standoff.
England so efficient, so disciplined normally. It's a good 2 metres away from the action. Darren Garforth just in one of those little personal spats. I don't know, that's nothing really.
That's inside Welsh territory. Throw in not straight. And England have the option, but they go for the scrummage.
Can't afford this. Bad throw by Gareth Jenkins. Got to win your own set-piece ball.
An important area there also for Wales. They've had vulnerability in the front row for much of the season. Dawson really was in a trap there and did well to hold on, but handling down there.
Bad line out for Wales. That's an even worse scrummage for England. That was a mess.
Neil Jenkins. A wonderfully animated atmosphere all around the ground. Neil Jenkins there, Wales's most capped standoff half. Jenkins, Scott Gibbs. There's Scott Quinnell taking it up almost to the England 22. Loud blast for not retiring. And it's a simple kick at goal. So a lot of booing from the crowd, but the referee right on the ball, and they're explaining. Yes, that was Rodber, but explaining to the English captain that what the decision was for. So this kind of kick, well, Neil Jenkins could pump it over almost with his eyes closed. It's that kind of kick for him. Jenkins, who did so much for the Lions in South Africa. And Jenkins doing it again for Wales. 7 points to 6, England lead. They've played about 12 minutes of the first half. And not for the first time, Neil Jenkins keeps Wales in contention. Lovely hanging restart. Well, Mather almost got up to it. Colin Jarvis has a go in his own 22. Howley burrows. Jenkins flat, again to Scott Quinnell. Knock on, it'll be a scrummage.
That's good refereeing. The original knock-on by England after a superb restart kick by Mike Catt. But it makes you wonder, how far can the refs take it back? That knock-on was a long time ago.
Well, they're 6 or 7 metres outside the Welsh 22, right in front of the Welsh posts. Hanley pointing to the English flanker and suggesting that he'd broken from the scrimmage, which he's not allowed to do till the ball is clear. Hanley into the man trap there. And England have stolen it. Cockrell trying to rip it clear. Now it goes to Dawson. Cat tackled there by Gibbs. Dawson tackle by Neil Jenkins. Still 10 metres outside the Welsh 22, diving over, penalty to England. Stay on your feet, shouts the referee. Chris Wyatt does not approve.
Robert Hanley, they got in a bit of a pickle at that scrummage there. They wanted a back row move, Scott Quinnell to number 9, 8 to 9. It's a sort of set-piece move. England stole the ball, and really you've got to say that England didn't take advantage. The turnover ball in rugby is just one of those golden invitations, and although they've got a penalty out of it, you know, I just wonder whether Mike Catt really knew what was happening.
So Robert Howley leading Wales, of course, today, and looking upfield to see Johnny Wilkinson. There's a wonderful view from our elevated camera. Wilkinson with 46 points in just 7 internationals. And Wilkinson pulling it round and straight through. That's a marvellous kick by the youngster, the 19-year-old. So it's 10 points to 6, England lead. They've played 15 minutes.
15 minutes, a lot of mistakes, I suppose, to be expected. It's big down there, isn't it, Bill?
Not Jenkins then. Well, that was a brave bit of work by Matt Perry, and happily hasn't been badly injured. Garforth leading the drive initially. Now Cat, the charge down by Howley. Great bit of covering by Dawson. The two scrum halves in direct opposition there. And this is frantic stuff as both sides try to win the ball, but interference again on the ground. Yes, holding in on the floor. It's the old story, as soon as you go to the floor in a tackle, you must release the ball, and what's more, the tackler has to release the tackle player.
I think Matt Dawson has every right to say to Mike Catt, well, thanks very much. He does so well to cover up the mistake by Mike Catt having the kick charge down. Robert Howley, good discipline, lets him get up before he starts taking the tackle. But Mike Catt just wanted that extra 2 feet too many. It's electric out there. You've got to make instant decisions and execute your plans immediately.
The thing about that bit of action too was that Dawson tried to get to his feet. Meanwhile, Neil Jenkins prods it into touch at the corner.
It's interesting, is Andre Watson letting Wales do their little trickery of talking about the line out, arriving at a trot and then throwing in? It seems not. He wants them formed before they throw.
Oh, super jump there again by Wyatt. It's a pretty good ball for Wales. Jenkins. Taylor gave it on to Scott Gibbs. Luger with a pick-up, and it's all very frantic indeed. Wilkinson couldn't quite hold it. Simpkinson in there winning it for Wales. Now it's Jenkins once again. Another good ball as Jenkins switches. Drive on there by Colin Charves, but offside, and it'll be a penalty virtually in front of the post. Yes, never any doubt as to what Neil Jenkins would do there, surely.
If Wales are trying to run ball, it's got to be quick. England are offside, but it's very touch and go whether they are offside. They're trying to play this flat game, and this is Mark Taylor. He does ever so well to recover from a Welsh mistake and then an English mistake. That slow ball, Wales can't operate off that because there's only 3, if only 2 English players committed to the tackle area, which means there's a string of white shirts across the field.
Yes, the crowd roars, and never any doubt about that one. Neil Jenkins' third penalty goal. England lead 10 points to 9. 19 minutes played. And still the most gorgeous afternoon here. Bit of a breeze and the flags on top of the Twin Towers, but it's ideal for rugby down on the pitch there. Cat hoisting. Has it gone too far? Scott Quinnell had to play it. Howley gives instructions, but again an infringement down on the floor. Let it go, said the referee.
Scott Quinnell taking the kick from the kickoff, from the restart. After watching Scotland against France yesterday, how many opportunities are created straight from the restart? Everybody can plan defences from scrummages and line-outs, but from the restart, it's one of those loose areas now.
In any event, it's given England a tremendous attacking position here. All kinds of kidding on there at the line-out, but that was taken by Rodber onto Cockrell. That was a clever move. Dawson, Cat, Wilkinson almost there. Tremendous defence by Wales there. About 5 jerseys here. Cat going, Cat inside, and it's a wonderful score. Steve Hanley the scorer, and what a moment for the 19-year-old. His first international match, and he scores a try. They'll be thrilled up at Haywood Road. Manchester sail with that one. 15 points to 9, England lead. 20 minutes played, and Robert Howley lays down the law.
Well, it came from the unusual line out the front peel. The gaps opened up, clever inside pass, and awareness by Steve Hanley. Oh, he only just held on to it, but what a moment for the newcomer. Teenage triumph.
Great congratulations there for the scorer from Barry John Mather, the other new cap. And listen to the choral legions. Johnny Wilkinson trying to concentrate. And believe it or not, he's missed it. But in any event, it was a tremendous score. Dawson there with a lovely spin pass, and then watch the angle of running here by the young fellow Hanley, and he's a big boy too, no stopping him there. 15-9 for England.
Did I just see Johnny Wilkinson miss a kick, Bill?
You sure did. Only 2 in his whole career in this championship. Hill engulfed. Cat. Oh, there's a boomer. Miles back there. And that was a great catch by Howarth. He really did well. Into the sun too. Craig Quinnell thumps in. Garforth with the initial tackle. There's the surge on by Peter Rogers, the loose head prop. England's 10 metres line. Well, England will get the foot in. It actually looked as if they'd won another ball there.
They nearly did. Peter Rogers trying to take on 2 England defenders, and that's the danger. You get isolated, they'll just tear your head off.
There's the Welsh front row who are taking on three crackers in Leonard, Cockrell and Garforth. Here's the pick-up and drive by Hill. Dawson. Cat. Oh, the full-back's on the line. Out there to the big lad. Hanley again. But Wales were alert to the danger, but it was a snappy move and a very good bit of intrusion there by Matt Perry.
But it was also, look at this tackle coming up from Scott Gibbs. It is very good England play. And there's Scott Gibbs. Doesn't just take him out, he takes him into touch, so England will lose the throw-in. But England, for the first time in this championship, are looking very dangerous with the ball in hand.
Chris Wyatt there with Scott Quinnell behind him. There, Andre Watson used to be a civil engineer, but a full-time referee now, and making it quite clear what he wants. Aaron Jenkins' throw. Craig Quinnell's catch. Welsh 10 metres line. Howley, Jenkins, Scott Gibbs. Oh, welcoming party of about 5 there for him. Howley again, Jenkins. Good effort there by Rogers. Dumping run there. Oh, tremendous, the other prop forward, and Craig Quinnell charging up there as well. And there's the other prop forward I mentioned, Ben Evans of Swansea. And it was great to see 2 props and a lot forward in concert in that handling.
It's a great game, isn't it? Steve Hanley has just scored a try and thinks international rugby is so easy, and then he's got the mad hippo coming straight over him. Craig Quinnell, he's wonderful with the ball in his hand.
Craig Quinnell too for a big lock forward who's scored a try in each of his last 3 internationals. And there you see, oh, what a handoff. Well, the young lad Hanley, Steve Hanley, knows what it's like to play in rugby union against fellas like Craig Quinnell. Now there'll be a mighty roar from the stand on the far side if Neil Jenkins slots this one. How often have we seen this routine? How often have we seen him slot goals that have saved Wales, saved the British Lions, saved Pontypridd? Jenkins, little stab. The crowd thinks it's not bad. It certainly isn't. That is a remarkable kick by Jenkins. His 4th. It's 15 points to 12 for England, and Jenkins just keeps bringing Wales back in.
Yeah, boring Wales. Bell can only score with penalties.
Cat with that hanging ball. Scott Quinnell took it well. Howley into space, but filled there by Perry. Perry loves to run. Perry's good for rugby football. Adventurous, exciting. Cat going. Cat, who's with him? Oh, superb run by the stand-off half. And out to Cat once again, but it was knocked on. Dan Luger was up there as well. But that, you feel, should have been a try. A wonderful run by Mike Cat.
Oh, 3-1 overlap, and they blew it. Not Mike Cat's fault. Not Mike Cat's fault. He did wonderfully well to open it all up in the first place, going around and through Colin Jarvis. He knows where everybody is. His pass is certainly sound. But from now on, oh well, I think the angle of running there, really Dan Luger didn't take the right angle.
Jenkins caught it well, and that's a big boomer he's put in. Back there goes Hanley, taken by Perry. This is Hanley. Now he's 16 stones, but a very good follow-up tackle there. Mark Taylor, and holding on, it's a penalty, and Neil Back took the ball away, so Wales get another 10 metres.
That was a good kick by Neil Jenkins, put all sorts of pressure. Wales 2 against 2 following up, and Mark Taylor, well, he is simply the best tackler in the Welsh side. He just doesn't miss when on a one-on-one situation.
So Neil Jenkins, one of the 2 Pontypridd players in this Welsh side. Caffith James, the other.
There it is, Mark Taylor, and you can see Steve Hanley just stopped Scott Gibbs stealing the ball there, and that's enough. That's enough, because Wales would have been away on a turnover situation there. And I don't know what Neil Back's doing. It's probably a bit of back chat, is it, or does he stop Wales taking the ball? Yeah, he just hangs on to it a bit there. Yeah, doesn't let them have it.
Neil Jenkins, who is the third Welshman to 60 caps, his 64th today. Another stab, and it looks like a good... Oh, this is amazing goal kicking. Extraordinary stuff by Neil Jenkins. His 5th penalty goal, 15 all it is, and they've played 28 minutes of the first half. With a game on. Mike Catt, a very high dropout. That was a marvellous restart. However, Jarvis has got it for Wales. And the fullback, Howarth, has taken it, given it to Jenkins. Taylor going. Almost an interception, not quite. Howley with the long kick. Perry with the catch. Perry's Gary Owen. Yes, good bit of work there by Jenkins. He called and took the flag. Craig Quinnell took it further. Now Jenkins. Now Thomas. Two very big fellas over there when you think that Steve Hanley is 6'3" and 16, and Gareth Thomas 6'2" and 16'5", and their wings.
Yes, you can see why Wales are pleased with the situation, but just Robert Howley, 2 kicks, haven't been very good, just giving possession away.
Rodber again at the line out. Immaculate ball. Dawson. Rodber once more. Coming in from the side. Got to come in from behind in Rucker Mall. Dawson. Galalio. Super tackle there. There's by Ben Evans.
Oh, they're lucky to get that put in. Lawrence Delalio was turned there. But I'd have gone for the 3 points. This is going to be a tense game. Well, it's certainly been a tense opening quarter. Johnny Wilkinson left peg. What, he's missed one, and they've started to run everything. What a turnaround. Strange team, England.
Well, there you see Wales, slightly the heavier. It's amazing, really, but Wales' pack average 17.9. England's about 16-13. There are 4 players in the Welsh pack 18 stones or over. I've never known that before. It's a beefy pack. But Dawson, yes, it was a lovely move by England. They'll be a bit annoyed that they were brought back to scrimmage again, because your man Steve Hanley had come right across from the left wing and came in as a kind of stand-off half. It would have been worth seeing that one. Andre Watson's come round to have a look at the other side, and he's warned them, keep it up, he says. Darren Garforth on this side of the front row, of course, having a tremendous battle. That was Dawson with the pick-up, then Catt. Catt looking back for the forwards, but crossing.
Tell you what, there was an overlap there. Mike Catt, wrong option. But you can see Peter Rodgers has got Darren Garforth in all sorts of problems at the scrummage. Unless, of course, England wanted that little turn to create so much space on the far side of the field. I don't understand this front row business.
That was an accidental offside decision. And Howley has a look to see where Neil Jenkins is. Jenkins out on Howley's left. Howley, Jenkins, switch to Scott Gibbs. Gibbs, the thunderbolt. Jarvis. Jarvis, the Swansea flanker. Big man on the run. Gibbs, Howarth. Tafith James did well. He changed his angle, but, well, didn't get the ball.
I don't know. I think that shows a lack of patience there by Wales. You know, Scott Gibbs did well to set up the first phase. Then you go through a second phase, and the passes are just a little bit too fierce here, a little bit too under pressure. Just starting. That's a good pass from Scott Gibbs, but this one, well, no, David James should have held on to that.
Nothing much between the tight 5 forwards, but an awful lot of experience, of course, in that England front row. Jason Leonard, 71st cap, Cockerell, 21st, Garforth, 19th.
Now, the referee's had a word with the front rows. They're both going to scrummage straight now. They have to. Now, what will Peter Rogers do on this side? Welsh one. No, that's not right. That's not right.
That may have been his binding going. Got to bind very tight with the full arm round the shoulder.
It was against Ben Evans, but that's just, you've got to give him a chance.
Wilkinson, strong left foot. About 6 minutes to go to half-time. 15-all. This was the scrimmage, and yes, the ref had a good view of it. And Ben Evans, the tight head prop for Wales, was the one who got picked off. Delalio with the catch. Round came Leonard. Dawson. Cat. Wilkinson. Caught by Gibbs. Welsh 22. Going over. It's a penalty, and it's right in front of the post. Also, I think falling down on the floor, the referee insisting that players stay on their feet at that breakdown point. Here's Garen Jenkins, Wales' most capped hooker of all time, his 42nd international today. And that's the other Jenkins, just checking up as to why the penalty was awarded. The referee telling Wales also to get back the 10 metres. Huge crowd here, wonderful atmosphere. There, Clive Woodward, double British Lion, and of course coach of England. So Johnny Wilkinson there as Graham Henry looks on. The former Auckland coach coaching Wales. Johnny Wilkinson, can he make it 3? Indeed he can. Few penalties and a conversion for him. 18 points to 15, England lead. They've about 4 minutes to go to half-time. And there's a buzz all round this ground, a continuous buzz. The excitement, well, you can feel it up here in the commentary position. Neil Jenkins, bit further this time. Delalio. Dawson did well. Dawson didn't hand on trouble. He ducked in, asked his forwards to do the job. Wilkinson gets it away. And Cat with another boom boom. Howarth gives it to Scott Quinnell. Scott Quinnell, like a yacht in full sail, up to the England 10 metres line. That gets the Welsh folk roaring. Howley, Jenkins, back inside to James. James coming in off his left wing. Scrimmage goes to England.
Great tackle by Darren Garforth. Prop taking out winger. Here's the original run by Scott Quinnell. Goes through Martin Johnson. But what the second row can't do, Darren Garforth there, number 3, left of the picture. Well, he just stays off the ruck and lands himself a tackle target at David James and brings him down, no problem.
So they're going to scrimmage again, 5 metres inside the England half. Darren Garforth on this side of the front row, of course, along with his Leicester colleague, Richard Cockerell. I think they're playing together in an international for about the 14th or 15th time. Dawson with the free kick. Back fed it on, but Wales hadn't retired the 10 metres. Dawson again, opening out to Rodber initially. 10 metres from the Welsh 22. Cat has a go. Another very handy ball for England, but they could have done with it just a little bit quicker. Dawson, chip kick, back goes Thomas, and that's always a danger, and it could be a try for Hill. The try awarded. Richard Hill, the scorer. Amid all the cacophony, maybe the signal wasn't heard, but the collision really gifted a try to England and to Richard Hill. His 4th try in 19 internationals.
Well, I'd always say full-back coming forward has got to take it. Although Gareth Thomas did actually get hands to it. Got a shout for the mark, if nothing else, but excellent ploy by England. It really just caught two players in two minds. Superbly placed kick. Actually, I think did you think he tried for the mark there? Misjudgment by Wales, great judgment by England. Richard Hill, good following up by the back row.
Richard Hill thrilled, gets a pat in the head there from Jason Leonard. Johnny Wilkinson, the 19-year-old. Oh. Can't miss. 25 points to 15. England lead. They're almost into injury time at the break. And I always feel, Eddie, that you know that it should really be the full-back's ball.
Yeah, obviously too much atmosphere at this place, Bill. They can't hear each other shout. But you're right, full-back's ball.
Martin Johnson, brilliant, like a basketball star. Rodber goes on. Tackled by Gibbs. England 10 metres line. Dawson, Cat. Probes and prods. Howarth. Big thump, that one. Yes, Perry obviously called, and Cat left it to him. And that's a good return by the youngster. Perry, the 22-year-old of Bath.
Early call by Perry. You could hear it from up here. He just said, that is mine.
Garen Jenkins on halfway. Wyatt. Howley. It was too low for Jenkins. It was really at the back of his left leg, that one. Robert Howley will not be pleased with himself.
That's what, 4 or 5 unforced errors by Wales in the last couple of minutes, and they're being made to pay dearly for them.
Yes, and so this time Darren Garforth has been penalised for taking the front row down, and Peter Rodgers, the Welsh loose head, reckons that was a fair decision. Well, he would, wouldn't he? Jenkins, marvellous. Timing of that punt was just brilliant. Looked so easy, like a well-hit golf shot. Well, Wales will have to watch on the handling errors, won't they?
Yeah. Here we go. Little mess around before the line out. Drop goal by Neil Jenkins. Wales go in only 7 points adrift.
Wyatt fiddled about very cleverly. Jenkins once again. Taylor with the catch. Howarth. If that pass had gone to hand, Thomas might well have been away. Howley again. Jenkins. Gibbs. Great charge here. Howarth the fullback. Gives it out there to Wyatt. Pick up by Taylor. England 22. Howley waits. Jenkins. Scott Quinnell. Still on England's 22. And still the thin white line spread right across the width of the pitch. Good ball won by England's forwards, and Dawson with a lovely clearance. The power of England's back.
You can't run 1 at 3. You can't run Scott Quinnell at a midfield with Neil back hovering. They'll always steal the ball off you.
Scott Quinnell there. He and his brother Craig playing together. Sons of Derek, the great Llanelli in Wales and British Lions forward. Once again, Wyatt changed position cleverly, as he's able to do, as long as he doesn't obstruct anybody. Ben Evans went through a bit early there for Wales, but coming offside, Howley onto Jarvis. Jarvis almost through, but a very good tackle by Wilkinson. Still a chance here as Taylor goes. Back in the tackle there, England's 10 metres line. Surging run there by Peter Rogers, who found himself there as a stand-up half. Scott Gibbs. But England know the danger held out by Scott Gibbs. Craig Quinnell. Taylor again. Howley. Wyatt. Very good English tackling here. Jenkins back inside. Howley. Craig Quinnell thumps on, looking for a fourth consecutive try in internationals. England interfering.
That's so much better. Patience, control the ball of the tackle, take 7 or 8 phases, go for the penalty, let Neil Jenkins loose. If they try and do too much too early, they're giving these long, wild passes and then losing control. That was just great play then. And the English defence is not going to crack until a minimum of 8 or 9 phases.
And Eddie, I sometimes wonder too, why not every now and then a little chip kick ahead, because the defence is flat.
Yeah, good point, but don't forget Wales are committed to a flat game. If they're going to kick, they themselves have to drop back then.
The man himself. Can he kick a 6th penalty goal? Not many people would bet on him not doing it. The ball leaning forward. Jenkins then. Great thump. Flags up. He's done it again. And we are witnessing a tremendous performance in goal-kicking again by Neil Jenkins. It's 25 points to 18 for England at half-time. It's been a thrilling half. England, 3 cracking tries, all to play for in the second 40. So tries from Dan Luger, Steve Hanley and Richard Hill for England. A couple of penalties and a conversion from Wilkinson to 6 penalty goals by Neil Jenkins. 25-18 at the break.
Well, 3 tries to 0. Kieran, happy, but the margin should be much wider, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think England are playing all the rugby. The England backs are playing superb rugby, marshalled by Mike Catt. And it looks like the Welsh aren't going anywhere because the English defence is very good, and I'm sure Phil Larder will be very pleased. England's tackling is, in a sense, what sets them apart in this whole championship. Yeah, it's different to the tackling we've been used to in the past. Phil Larder's a rugby league coach, and he's inset into the minds of certainly the forwards, and it's pretty ferocious out there, yeah. Good job you got Neil Jenkins playing for you, Jonathan.
Yeah, he's the best kicker in the world. He's just hit everything, today perfectly, and he's kept us in the game, and he's done it over many games. But as Kieran said, the English defence is totally dominating the game at the moment. They have to be patient and try and recycle the ball. But unfortunately, there's too many turnovers and handling errors. They have to vary their play a little bit because the defence is so well organised and the communication is superb.
Obviously, the Scots went behind a very early try by the French yesterday, and Wales suffered a similar fate today when Dan Luger scored. What were your impressions of this?
Well, it was a great break, I think. Just balls out, again, possession. It's a ball out to the tacklers, and it's a loop by Catt. But there's a missed tackle here somewhere, There's 2 missed tackles. You've got Jarvis and Tinkinson. But here, you got David James. He would have caught Matt Perry there. And Shane Howarth should have moved across and hit Luger, Lack of communication. I know it's difficult, down there, but you've got to communicate when you've got 2-on-1 and a covering winger. You watch, both miss him. But you've got David James comes into shot here on the left. He, sooner or later, when he'd have caught Matt Perry and would have let Howarth get all of Luger, but
It's a good angle.
a great try and great inside support off the winger, and it was a great try.
And let's face it, even worse communication later led to Richard Hill's try, which in many ways has turned the game. Gavin, we're talking about the English defence. We've got a shot coming up now of when Robert Hanley goes round the fringes and is just enveloped by Lawrence Dallaglio. He is a man mountain.
Absolutely, and there's just this white wall of English defence. I mean, these guys at the back row, and here we see Robert Howley looking up and decides to go. And, well, what a tackle, Rodbert. He's very, very strong. He's huge, and all the rest of the England forwards coming in behind and just obliterating any loose Welsh forwards. And I think that's been a hallmark of the game for me. The way that England have defended. It's difficult to see Wales scoring other than through the boot of Neil Jenkins so far, but he's kept them in the game. And if I was in the England dressing room just now, I'd be going absolutely nuts, because I think they really should be a lot of points ahead at this stage.
There was one golden opportunity when Mike Catt went clean through with 2 men, and it seemed like the angles were all over the place.
Well, he'd done all the hard work, hadn't he? And I was sitting there with Kieran, and he only had to run the angle to the corner flag. And I think it maybe came from just a lack of confidence, a lack of self-belief.
I wouldn't
and
have
no, I know you wouldn't have done. You'd have scored as well. But we were capable of scoring.
But we were talking about Mike Catt before the game with Kieran, and he can be, you know, good and evil at the same time. I mean, that charge down kick very nearly led to a try. I mean, he had acres of time.
There, yeah. But like we said before, I mean, Mike Catt is a confidence player, and you know, you either love him or hate him. He can turn a game, and he, you know, like most fly-offs, they can lose a game as well. But I was a bit disappointed he didn't, you know, take his chance there, because I thought there was a massive gap there, and that may be because he's lacking a bit of confidence.
Can you see any way, Jonathan, that Wales can score a try here?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Yeah, I think they can. As I said, they've got to be patient. You know, they've got to be quick and recycling. There is a time when you hit rucks and mauls that you have to have a couple of seconds to readjust your defence. It is very, very good, and the communication is superb. But if we can just clear out that little bit quicker, because the forwards don't commit to the rucks or mauls, sometimes you'll have, you know, the front row out wide, where, you know, you'll have a one-on-one with one of the backs, and then you've just got to take him on. The defence is that good that you won't create overlaps, so you just have to look for a mismatch and then take them on. And yeah, we've just got to be patient, and even we've got to kick, but when we kick, we've got to put pressure on the English defenders.
Yeah, I think Robert Harley should take on more himself. I mean, there's a number of opportunities when I just felt that there was an opportunity for a sniping run. He's got wonderful pace, and just so far he seems to be looking to Neil Jenkins, who's standing very, very flat, but he's not moving with the ball. He's taking the ball standing still. And it just means that they're lining up Scott Gibbs and Mark Taylor as well. And unless they put some pace onto the ball, then it's difficult to see them breaching the English defence.
And the English defence is so good, and if you miss one tackle, suddenly gaps open up. And in fact, that's what led to Hanley's try on his debut, Kieran. There was a missed tackle early on, and that led to the space on the other side.
I think that's perhaps his first touch of the ball. It was a great line-out move that I'm sure they've practiced many times on the pitch before this game. The ball goes out there, nice pass from Matthew. And Johnny Wilkinson breaks the tackle. I mean, that was the reason why we perhaps got the score in the end. But I think the ball comes out left now. Matt coming in, slowly but surely. And there he is, takes a great line. It's so hard to stop from there, and I'm sure he's very, very pleased to score a try on his first touch.
And a good line from Mike Catt there, actually, which actually took men out, didn't they?
Yeah, very much so. If you run at angles and if you run off people, that's going to create the opportunities. And there you see, big man, he's always going to score from there.
Gavin, when you've got 2 backs, one who's 6'6" and heaven knows how much, and one who's 6'4" and 16.5 stone.
I'm glad I'm retired. No, I just think that this England, the physique of the English players right through the team. I mean, young guys as well, and I just believe that rugby now is becoming very much a young person's game. Everyone is getting much more physical. It's a tremendously intense match and game now. And this England team, they just have size and physique that is awesome, and it's frightening, and ultimately it's going to take its toll against smaller opposition.
But ultimately games can still be won and lost on elementary schoolboy errors, and that's what the try that Richard Hill scored, Jonathan, at the end was.
Yeah, you give me the best ones today, aren't you, John?
After what you said about me last night at that dinner, Jonathan, you're in for it, I tell you.
That's Shane Howarth's ball, you know. It's a schoolboy error where the guy coming onto the ball has got to take it, and we don't know if he didn't call or whatever, but look, it's a tremendous clash, and you know, Richard Hill, it's good back row play. He's up there. He'd have made the tackle, but that's easy for him then. Just picks it up, and I did hint maybe it was a double movement, and Kieran laughed, but I was grasping at straws, I think.
Not a chance.
Well, just the 33 points in the first half so far. Heaven knows how many we'll get in the second. We'll talk more in just a moment or two about what England might do in the second half and what Wales can do to salvage things. But obviously it's a fantastic weekend for sport, especially for us here in the BBC. We've got the Masters culminating tonight, but football today, 2 FA Cup semi-finals and some significant games as well in the Premiership. Not exactly a goal fest in the 2 AXA-sponsored FA Cup semi-finals. The United-Arsenal game, goalless after extra time, and they meet again at Villa Park on Wednesday. Nelson Vivas of Arsenal sent off for 2 bookable offences 5 minutes into extra time, but Arsenal apparently held on with United attacking very much towards the end. And it's still goalless with extra time being played at Old Trafford between Newcastle United and Spurs, but that is a latest score. Now in the Premiership, Everton 2, Coventry 0. Everton's first scorer was Kevin Campbell after 29 minutes, and a scrabbling piece of paper here tells me that he's just scored as well 2 minutes from the end. So Everton 2, Coventry 0, and Everton's Marco Materazzi was sent off in the 84th minute for a second bookable offence. And Wimbledon 1, Chelsea 2, Torre-Andre Flo getting a goal in the 24th minute, Gustavo Poyet, and don't Chelsea need him back in the 53rd, and then Marcus Gale getting one back for Wimbledon, but that was right at the death, and so Chelsea very much still in contention, a 3-horse race, just 2 points behind Manchester United, 1 behind Arsenal. And in the nationwide division, we're going to show you the bottom first of all, just to say that that's an important win for Everton, which gets them out of the mire. Maybe that's now a 4-horse battle to avoid the drop. David Pickering, the Welsh manager, is down below us in the tunnel.
Well, David Pickering, what's been the message to the Welsh players to cut out the mistakes?
Oh, really, we've got to start playing our game. We're not playing our game. There's a very negative defence of England. They're giving away a lot of penalties. But in this half, we've got to move the area of attack out wide. We've also got to look more at our territory game, and we've got a solid defence out. But we owe it to ourselves, really. We know we can play better than this. We're still in the game, and we haven't played well.
They've scored 3 tries. You must be grateful to the boots of Neil Jenkins for keeping you in it.
Yeah, well, the defence has been offside quite a lot, so that's why the penalties have been given away. But we owe it to ourselves. We know we can play better than this.
Thanks, Dave.
And one of the football results I didn't give you was Norwich 0, Ipswich 0 in Division 1, which takes Ipswich up to 2nd place in the table behind Sunderland. So, just very quickly, Jonathan, whither Wales?
I just feel they've got to take the ball a little bit flatter, because the defence is flat and spread across the field. They've got to take it flatter off the scrum half to get over the advantage line. They're taking it too deep. They're getting hit back over the advantage line and then losing momentum on the ball. And then, you know, they've just got to be patient. If there's nothing on it wide, you know, as Kieran knows, you've got to pick up and go through the middle of the ruck, because there's not many players there. But they have to be patient.
And no problems, Kieran?
No, I think the English defence is too strong for them, and hopefully with this weather and fitness that will tell by the end, and we'll score a few more tries in this half.
OK, let's get back to Eddie and Bill.
And so it's England to start the second half, seeking a record 5th Triple Crown on the trot, a 12th Grand Slam, and a 6th consecutive victory over Wales. Wales last won this fixture in '93, 10-9 at Cardiff, Ian Evans scoring the try. And the crowd settles down for a thrilling 40 minutes as Mike Catt gets the second half started, and Craig Quinnell lays it back well. Jenkins, Perry. Jenkins had dropped back. Remember, he played against England last season as a fullback. This is Howarth. Oh, and Howarth, that's a very big kick away over Neil Back's head. Oh, and he knocked it. It seemed to be a knock forward, and the referee, Andre Watson, has seen it.
Andre Watson had a second thought about that, but well, if that's not a knock on, Bill, I don't know what is. Here he is. Now, let's have a look. That's a knock on.
Howley waits. Scott Gibbs has come across to the right-hand side, and Hanley dummied to Scott Gibbs. Gibbs acting as a kind of decoy. Now he goes in as scrum half, but leaving it to Jenkins, and indeed to Peter Rogers. Deep inside England's 22. Jenkins almost through. Great tackle by Neil back. He made up for the little knock-on with that tackle. Howley taken there by Jarvis. Could maybe have been a bit lower in the saddle there, Colin Jarvis, but laid back by Scott Quinnell. Neil Jenkins, a great chance. There's a try for Howarth. The missed pass did it. Shane Howarth scores his third try for Wales, and the crowd roars. It seems as if the whole of Wales is here at Wembley. It's 23-25. They've played only 2 minutes of the second half. Shane Howarth, the hero.
Patience, patience. Let the ball do the work. It's slow ball, but they've controlled the ball throughout the movement. And one sublime long pass from Neil Jenkins opens the whole thing up. You've got to stretch the defence, you've got to control the ball, and Wales did just that.
And the Welsh support there, well, all the replacements you can see, overjoyed. And no wonder. And that really is the hero of the try, Neil Jenkins, with that huge missed pass. Jenkins then, he is absolutely amazing. 7 successful goal kicks by Neil Jenkins. It's 25-25. 3 minutes of the second half played.
This is the pass. Oh, and he's playing flat too. He's hardly got a split second to size up whether that's on, and it takes courage to deliver it.
Cat got it going. Hill made the catch. There's the drive in by Barry John Mather. And when this fella gets up, we'll see if we can have a real close look at him, Barry John Mather, because there he is, the biggest centre I can remember. He's 6'6" and 16'4", a great rugby league player in his day, capped 3 times by Great Britain.
Well, England stacking the left again.
Over the game line for England. First on by Martin Johnston. Back inside there to Darren Garforth. Inside the Welsh 22. Dawson, Rodber. Thrown out there by Cat. Wilkinson back inside to Steve Hanley. Referee playing advantage to the Whites. They're right in front of the Welsh post. Cat has a go. Hauled down by Jenkins. Scott Quinnell has it, but offside. A penalty to England. What a super tackle there was there by Neil Jenkins on his opposite number.
Yes, it was, but it was also well controlled by England, by the forwards at least. I don't see why Wales need to be offside that wide out. Mike Catt against Neil Jenkins. It certainly throws Mike Catt, and Lawrence Delaley looking for the ruck rather than the pass on, but left the frame outside there. Wales are offside. No need for it.
Yes, 4 goals from 5 attempts, Johnny Wilkinson, but he'll have to rivet his attention here because the roars round the ground here, some encouraging him, some to put him off. Wilkinson, good, Thumpy gave it, and he pops over his 6th successful goal. 28-25, England lead, 6 minutes of the second half played. What a match we've got. So Martin Johnson there, the first international out of the kids' club in Leicester. playing today in his 45th international, the Wilkinson club it is. Delalio once again thrown down there by Tafith James. Wilkinson sliced that one a little bit. There he is, the 19-year-old who got his first cap against Ireland in '98 as an 18-year-old, the youngest to play for England since way back Henry Laird in 1927. Aaron Jenkins gets his instructions from Robert Howley, and they were to throw it to Chris Wyatt. Howley, Jenkins flat again, Taylor going. But England are so solid in midfield there. In fact, that try by Howarth was, I think, only the 5th that England have conceded in this Five Nations.
And it's just made them more obdurate in defence. Just a crunching tackle, dislodging the ball from Mark Taylor's grasp.
Come on, says the referee, hold until he tells them they can contact. Now look at Scott Quinnell, he's got to bind with that arm right round until the ball is clear. Wilkinson, the good ball to be run, this is Howarth. At last a chip kick, and Howarth took it well. Good interception there by Mather. 10 metres line of England, and a long, long one, that by Cat, who had a good look at it. It's a very good ball because Jenkins is back to almost his own line. And the red-haired terror from Pontypridd knew he had to sink that touch kick.
Good kick by Cat. Shane Howarth was up in the attack, taking his own kick ahead.
Well, there's been all kinds of jiggery-pokery at the line-out today. Players shifting position, but there, taken well by Delalio. Cat very flat again. Hill, another good tackle by Scott Quinnell, that time Dawson. Rodberg. Wilkinson is away. Now what can he do here, Wilkinson? Very good tackle by Chris Wyatt. But a marvellous bit of work by a lock forward, and England penalised for going over the top. Darren Garforth may have been penalised. But what a bit of covering that was by Chris Wyatt.
What a bit of play by the two second rows. It was the inside pass from Tim Rodber which set up this run by Johnny Wilkinson. He's looking and there's nobody within 15 yards of him. You've got to say, where was the support?
Wilkinson really was looking around for support. There was nobody really close to him. He tried the little jink, another look there. But look at Wyatt. And of course Howarth helped as well. But Wyatt not only put the tackle in, but he got to his feet so that he could play the ball. Great stuff.
I reckon he must be the Welsh player of the season, Chris Wyatt. Does everything.
Wyatt certainly has been one of the great successes of Welsh play this season. Neil Jenkins prods them up to halfway. Chris Wyatt of Llanelli, his 9th international today. Well, there you are. Wyatt has done it all for Wales at the line-outs. That's Jarvis onto Scott Quinnell. Good tackle by Richard Hill. May have got a bump in the head as he went in there. Jenkins saw a lot of space, directed it beautifully. Perry goes back. And Perry on his left foot, that's a big one. Jenkins opens out to Howarth. Howarth, lovely change of pace. Perry with the interception, just inside English territory. Howley the mole looks, and kids on to feed. The drive on there by Peter Rogers. Howley again to Jenkins. A poor pass, and there's a chance here as Cat kicks on. And you can see the anguish there in Mike Cat's face as the ball skidded off his foot into touch because he was clear.
Yes, he was, and Wales lost their patience. Gareth Thomas, he ran too early, it was a poorly delivered pass, and one good kick upfield here by Mike Cannon. England were in for yet another try.
Our coach at school always said, pass in front of the belly button.
You old hacking Scottish forwards, Bill.
A change of action at the line out for Wales. Craig Quinnell, Wyatt's in there, so is Garen Jenkins. Neil Jenkins, Thomas came in, Jenkins, Neil again, but all pretty haphazard stuff. However, a chance here, and Howarth, the All Black, had no doubt as to what he should do there.
Say it louder, Bill. How do you like your passes delivered? In front of the body. I mean, again, Neil Jenkins to Gareth Thomas, behind him.
So this throw-in, 5-6 metres outside England's 22. Richard Cockrell to throw. You could never take Richard Cockrell for a stand-off half, could you? No. Throw was good to his Leicester colleague, Martin Johnson. Yes, that's a great English drive. Now it's Dawson. A very handy Gary Owen. However, in there came Thomas. Ball went forward. Ball knocked on.
Oh, it's Martin Johnson. He wants a word with Martin Johnson. Well, it's a forward, and I suppose it doesn't really come off a hand, does it?
So Martin Johnson have to be careful after that wrap on the fingers.
He didn't get a yellow card. It's a surprise.
This is right on halfway. Galalio again never fails to get beyond the gain line. This is yes, Rodber has been the support runner so often. Dawson can't. The big man. And away there went Luger, almost up to the Welsh 22. Dawson turning on the heat, Cat goes. That was all right, he fed it away quickly. There's a chance here for back. A superb tackle by Robert Howley inside the Welsh 22, but it's going to be a penalty. Referee was playing advantage of being offside.
Yeah, he signalled it early, they were offside.
So 28-25 for England. They've played almost 15 minutes of the second half.
Neil back as ever in support, but the player of that whole movement was Tim Rodber. He started the last movement, he's been involved in this movement. It really has been a championship when the mobile second rows have pushed back the frontiers of rugby.
Johnny Wilkinson again comes in fairly steep to the ball. Bit of ill-mannered booing, but it doesn't put him off. And so Wilkinson thumps over what is fourth penalty goal. 2 conversions, 31 points to 25, England lead. 15 minutes of the second half gone. So England leading by 31 points to 25. But it's not over yet by a long shot. Neil Jenkins nicely over the 10 metres. Taylor took it. And if Neil Jenkins had been able to catch that one, Eddie, you were on earlier about restart kicks. Once again, England making a mistake there.
Yeah, Barry John Mather dropping the ball there. And in fact, I think Neil Jenkins will be cursing himself for dropping that. See, again, it's not Barry John Mather's ball. Man coming forward should take it. Mark Taylor, and now this pass. Well, outside half. Well, he should catch that.
Hanley was standing up. Jenkins, extra move here. Thomas has a goal. Didn't quite get his pass away. The pick up and feed there by Wilkinson. Almost up to the England 22, but it went forward. England will get the scrummage.
Colin Jarvis on the pick up and drive there. Little mistakes at these breakdowns.
Dawson. Cat. Howarth. Could have been further forward. Still handy though. Luger went in for it, but offside, so they get the option. A bit of a dust-up going on there, although goodness knows what for. Gareth James is the big lad involved, and he's going to get a ticking off as well.
Just thinking how quiet David James has been in this game. He's had hardly any ball on the left wing. Maybe it's a sign of hunger for it.
So England get the option of the penalty or the scrummage. They're taking the penalty, and Wilkinson will prod it left-footed as near to the corner flag as he can. Well, there's your gain line efficiency. England a slightly higher ratio. That means getting over the gain line. Johnson with the catch. England's big forwards trying to take the steam out of the Welshman. Cat, that's a mighty Gary-O, and it's a very good one. Howarth was brilliant, and he called for the mark. You can do that in mid-air, and that was brilliant work by the All Black.
Now, what does Jason Leonard, number 1, do here? He makes the tackle. The referee blows his whistle for the mark. It's nothing serious. The referee is showing him the yellow card, but it's only... Maybe he thinks he's getting a bit overheated, but it's mild, I think, Bill, mild.
Yellow card for Jason Leonard there, playing in his 71st international, the world's most cut-prop forward of all time. But he'll have to watch his P's and Q's now. It was a marvellous catch by Howarth. Leonard with the tackle, and there threw his man over, and just about there he did something that, well, wasn't acceptable. Scott Gibbs, loud blast though, throw in not straight.
Not straight, unforced error. Wales are making more and more of them.
31-25, they've played 20 minutes of the second half. The Grand Slam hanging on it. And of course Wales have had 4 Triple Crowns in a row. England could make it 5 if they were to win today. Dawson. Oh, that's a lovely Gary-O in 2. Howarth is going to have to do another. Not quite so handy that time. Neil back has a go up to the Welsh 10 metres line. Cat. There's a great chance here for the big fellow Mather and his pal there, Hanley. The 2 lads from Manchester Sale in concert there. The first real chance, I think, that they've had together. Howley's kick. First goes Perry, has to leave it there to Mather. Mather is 16 stones. Perry isn't, but he can shift. Inside Welsh territory. Another lovely ball for Dawson. Neil Back was out there, that was his kick. Howarth beautifully positioned. And there's a monstrous thump by Howarth. That could be a beauty. Oh, he couldn't have done better. And Howarth, with the adrenaline running, ran the whole way up there to make sure there wouldn't be a quick throw-in.
England on the attack, and Barry John May that did ever so well to take it into the Welsh 22. I just looked at the first forward to arrive at that breakdown, and it was Chris Wyatt. Wyatt, Rodber, Scott Murray. It really has been the age of the second row. Not that Scott Murray's playing today, though.
Martin Johnson at 2. He's a monster. He's a lot bigger than his 6'6" suggests. But there you see, blocking off in front of the ball carrier, that you're not supposed to do that. Dawson takes a dim view. Penalty to England. Dawson has taken it quickly. Dawson is away. Great tackle by Howarth. Brilliant tackle by him. Jarvis waits. Jarvis on the counter-attack. Midway between halfway and the Welsh 22. That's Taylor going back into Scott Gibbs. Then Howley left-footed. In comes Perry. Oh, Perry changed it cleverly, but Neil Jenkins. And Neil Jenkins was so careful so as not to knock on there. Still a big hoof. Dawson is back there. That's Luger. Dan Luger of the Harlequins. That's his Gary Owen. Needed to be a bit further forward. Yes, getting in front, I think.
What a shambolic bit of play. Robert Howley trying to kick downfield with his left foot, and then from then on it just sort of disintegrated. I think the referee gave a penalty out of sympathy for quality.
A change in the Welsh side. They've brought on Nick Waln of Richmond for his second cap, a lad who scored a try for Cambridge University in the varsity match in '97, and he comes on in place of Gareth Thomas. So we can expect maybe 1 or 2. There he is. He's a big laddie, this Nick Waln. 6'3" and 15 stones, can play full-back or wing. Howley, Quinnell, Jarvis, thundering tackle there by Delalio. Howley again, thrust on there a bit further by Rogers. Now out to Neil Jenkins. Jenkins to James. Garin Jenkins was first man there. Howley, Jenkins, Scott Quinnell, runs into Neil back, almost up to the England 22. It went forward. Here's Scott Quinnell. Well, you can imagine his feelings at the moment. 31-25, England lead. Almost 25 minutes of the second half played. The next score either way could be a decisive one. Dawson, but it's the penalty for, I think, breaking at the far side. Forwards have to stay bound, all 8 of them, until the ball is clear from the scrummage. Except in the case, of course, of the number 8 pickup. Wilkinson. And the song that Tom Jones sang here before the match, in the pre-match festivities, as it were, ringing round the ground now. The whole of Wales calling for the side to reach that little bit higher. 6 points adrift. England heading, it seems, for another Grand Slam. But 15 minutes to go. Rodber. Dawson, cut very flat. Taken on there by Luger. Luger is away. Tremendous run by him. Taken on by Neil back. Who else? First man there. Good drive in there too by Wilkinson, playing as a forward. Referee Andre Watson reminding Wales about their offside lines. That's the Welsh 22. Dawson going. This is tremendous work by England. The forwards are joining in now, beginning to stretch it. There's the big fella Steve Hanley having a go. Now it's out, and there's a real chance here. Taken there by Mather. Back, oh, and it was going to be a try. Wilkinson, but James is away. James tackled there by Mather. Just inside the Welsh 22. Howley kicks into wide open space. There's not an Englishman to be seen, except that Wilkinson is there now. But what a thrilling passage of play was, and how near England came to a clinching score.
Brilliant, Bill. Not an Englishman to be seen, and even fewer Welshmen. Everybody was just absolutely shattered by that passage of play. Look at Matt Perry. He knows he's just dropped the ball, and suddenly for Wales, Shane Howard, David James looks up 70 metres of open space. He's thinking, oh no.
And did you see Richard Cockrell chasing back there to try and catch James? Johnston peeling it off the top. Cat once again, feeding on to Back. Back, who's always there, the hunting dog. Cat once again. And that was the fullback coming in. Wilkinson had to go back to retrieve it, just inside English territory. Going to be a scrimmage. Welsh ball.
Well, Wales have managed to halt two English movements, but this is England like they haven't played before. They are now cutting through Mike Catt at 10, and the centres outside him, they're looking very, very dangerous.
Howley is leaving it to his back row forwards. Along to Gibbs, to Howarth, James, caught by Luger. Again, two big men there. Jenkins, the little chip kick through we were talking about earlier. Midway between halfway and the England 22. Welsh scrum.
What did you say first half, Bill? Why don't they chip a little? Quite right.
Well, anxious faces there amongst the Welsh support. I mean, I've never seen as many Welshmen, but here, number 21 coming on for England is Victor Ubogu, who will get his 23rd international, and there are all kind of changes here. David Young, the Lion, is coming on for Wales. Give it up, said the referee. He has been very strict on bodies falling on the ball. Quite rightly too. Quinnell, Howard, almost got it out there to James, not quite. So there, of course, David Young, his 30th international today. Remember, he rejoined Cardiff after 6 years in rugby league. And he's taken over on the tight head berth. Just outside England's 22. Pick up by Delalio. Ran into Howley. Howley anticipated where he'd go. Jason Leonard gets ready to feed it. Dawson gave himself room. Howarth waits. Maisie running by Howarth. He's shown that once or twice, the laddie who's played 4 times in tests for the All Blacks. Jenkins prodded, kept it low. Plus comes Perry. Oh, and Perry sent a dazzler all the way up the 5 metres line. That is a magnificent kick. He just speared it there, and he got the bounce as well. So Andrew Lewis is on the field for Wales as well, the loose head prop forward, but young Perry there, what a super kick. It's given England a tremendous attacking position, even though it's Wales' throw-in.
I think that answers your question to some extent, Bill. Why don't they chip ahead more? because if England have a yard to kick downfield, you lose 50 metres.
Line-outs won 12 each. And how well the big man Chris Wyatt has done for Wales in that direction. Jenkins knows how he was waiting for Wyatt to move, and Wyatt again picking his position beautifully. So clever. Howley high. Perry in. Perry well tackled there by Nick Waln. Just inside Welsh territory. Dutch judge's flag goes up. Alan Lewis, the Irish international referee.
Here he is. Does everything for Wales, especially at set piece.
What a season he's had in that red jersey of Wales. However, Rodber that time, Cat, on there to the big left wing, Hanley. He's already scored a try in this, his debut international, but Wales may have stolen it. Dawson burrowing away there, and knocked on, and Red get the put in. It's 31 points at 25. We've got about 8 minutes of the match left, plus injury time.
England have made a mistake at the breakdown there, and that, I don't know, is that the first, second mistake they've made there? I mean, normally they just control that area so well.
Welsh scrimmage with two fresh props on, held pretty well there. Yes, that was a good, solid scrimmage for Wales. Scott Gibbs has moved across. Jenkins gave it to Scott Gibbs, almost got through. If he could have moved the ball to Taylor, well. Howley once again, back inside to James. James beautifully there to Wyatt. Wyatt, tackled there by Dalalio. Howley once again to Jenkins. The other Jenkins goes, that's Garen Jenkins, one of the great Swansea front rowers. There's a chance here for Taylor, but two men outside. Howley. Awkward for young Perry. Oh, he's done well again.
That might be the image of the championship, not so much Matt Perry, but Mark Taylor. Here's Matt Perry doing his, well, it's quite straightforward duty as a fullback, really, but the damage in front of him, the image of the championship was me, Mark Taylor trying to run into Lawrence Dalalio and just taken to pieces.
Wales have cut to 5 men, and Wyatt goes once more. Howley, Jenkins, Scott Gibbs. Cat was in on the tackle first of all before resuming position. They're right in front of the England post here, but England's forwards have won a tremendous ball, and Cat spirals the ball away. The big men in white have done their job again. The whole of England breathes a sigh of relief.
Second image of the championship, Scott Gibbs taking on the England midfield and losing the ball. It's an awesome defence. Even the mighty Scott Gibbs surrounded, enveloped by 3 white shirts.
And Wales come again. Howarth going. Out there to Wong. Oh, seemed to do well to get the ball away there, but the ball was stolen there by Wilkinson. Huge pass back there to Perry, and once again on that left foot, Howarth. There's a lot of wide space there now. Who can get with him? Oh, that was a thundering tackle by Dalalio again. However, it's Howley. Has it gone out in the full?
Robert Howley has gone kick mad all of a sudden. Keep it in the hand, even though they're losing it in the tackle. Keep it in the hand. Don't take them on in midfield.
It would just take a try and a conversion, perhaps, to give Wales a first win over England since '93. But those, the juggernauts in front, are doing their job so well. Rodber once again at the line-out, and there the drive. They're so tight, and all the beef there. Rodber almost shunted right out of it, and that's dangerous. Referee's indicating that I think he's playing advantage. Yes, he was playing advantage because of the dangerous play, lifting a man up and then putting him down. That was what he said, and what a chance for England maybe to make sure. It really is a dangerous business, lifting a fella's legs up in the air and dumping him down like that.
I suppose it's all right as long as you keep him up there. You can't be accused of collapsing a maul then.
And so Wilkinson has prodded England up deep into the Welsh 22. And I can tell you that the DSB man of the match today is Neil Jenkins, picked by our studio panel. Cockrell burrowing in there, notice number 2. There's the roll, and the difficulty is to know who's got the ball. The White Warriors pressing again. Cat with the kick through. In comes Howarth, taken by Taylor. Seemed to go slightly forward. Yes, it went slightly forward.
Just England up front, they are so powerful. It's a mighty side. You know, they've not been as pretty in this second half as they have been in the first half, but you can see this side going on and even doing some damage in the World Cup, and you know, I would make them favourites for the World Cup.
Certainly it's an English pack that can hold its own with anything from the Southern Hemisphere. And of course they've been together for a good long time. You know, the Leicester pair in the front row, Jason Leonard with 71 cap, Hanley, Jenkins, that's a big clearance. So it is a very experienced England pack, and not only that, but England have brought Tim Rodber in as a lock forward from the back row, and that of course has increased the mobility and the ball handling expertise of the whole pack. And of course they've got Neil back and Richard Hill, workhorses, back sniffing about wherever the ball is. Leonard goes in there and hoists Rodber. Cockrell goes round and he's going to help to turn it. There he is, boring in, how close in he gets. Great work there again by the England forwards. Yes, the referee saying to the English that on that occasion they have to get rid of the ball, they have to use it or lose it. And as it is, Wales have been given the put in. And well, it could be coming to virtually the last chance for Wales here, as Howley has broken. Dawson was told not to lean on the flank forward. Jarvis going. Howley. Jenkins almost away. Howley once again. Taylor. Another good bit of ball for Wales, although a little bit slow. Howarth, Jenkins, Jarvis. And that was a thumping tackle by Rodber, and Jarvis may be injured. Yes, that was a nasty collision there.
I know Neil Jenkins has been made man of the match, but when you can make tackles like that in the 80th minute from the second row, I think Tim Rodber's been the outstanding force on this field today. Brilliant game.
And just being told that he went in with a shoulder, but it seemed to me that the clash of heads was accidental. But certainly the touch judge has suggested to the referee that it was a dangerous tackle.
It's a dangerous game.
Using the shoulder in the tackle, and that's what made it dangerous, and that's what's given Wales the penalty.
Bad decision, bad decision.
They've played about a minute and a half of injury time at the end of the game. England leading 31 points to 25. Jenkins prods Wales up to right on the England 22. The Welsh support, thousands of them here, in a 76,000 capacity crowd, trying to lift their team for one final effort. Again, they've only got 3 forwards in the line-out, and it's been left to Chris Wyatt, and how well he did that again. Scott Quinnell, a bust by Scott Gibbs. Scott Gibbs is through. Scott Gibbs has scored. What an amazing try. Scott Gibbs' 6th try for Wales in his 39th international. It's 31 points to 30. But the goal has still got to be kicked. A marvellous score. The angle of his run was superb.
Chris Wyatt, the workhorse, and just for once the England midfield defence is found wanting as Tim Rodber of all people. Oh dear, he gave away the penalty, which I think was harsh, and then he misses the tackle. Oh, Scott, don't do that, just touch down for the try.
He's like the leader in a Buffalo stampede, that lad Scott Gibbs. Graham Henry is impressed, but he's not showing any emotion because he knows that Neil Jenkins has got to kick the goal to put Wales into the lead.
Who would you want to kick this in World Rugby? That man.
Of all the great goals he's kicked in his life, Neil Jenkins, this will lift the roof. Has he stuck it over? And indeed he has. And that, well, can you imagine a more dramatic closing sequence? It's not over yet, but the Welsh supporters are just delirious. 32 points to 31. They've played almost 4 minutes of injury time. Can England pull it out of the fire? Cat with again a lovely high-hanging restart kick. Bounce a bit awkward. That seemed to go a bit forward. I think of Steve Hanley's hand. And all of Wales will be hoping for a clean heel and for Jenkins to thump this at least 40 yards downfield into touch. Well, the forwards seem to have delivered. We'd get a shock if they didn't win their own ball. Wales are squeezing it. Now, they've actually turned it 90 degrees, and that's quite clever because you have to scrimmage again and waste a bit of time. Eddie Butler is delighted.
And they'll keep wheeling and wheeling until the referee blows his whistle.
They're 3 metres outside the Welsh 22. And Wales are going to turn it 90 again. Oh, Howley got an awkward ball. Well, Scotland get the boot in this time, so all the options are open to them. Lawrence Dallaglio, the captain, there for the 14th time. Some can barely look. The seconds ticking away. On my watch, we've played fully 5 minutes of injury time. Break it up, says the referee, and goes round to have a look at the other side. I want us to Andrew Lewis on that far side on as a replacement. And the Welsh scrimmage certainly has been strong. However, it's Dawson to Cat. The drop goal attempt by Cat. It's too high. Howarth. He's called for the mark. And he'll take his time. I don't think he'll rush this one.
Oh, run it from there, Shane, they're all shouting. This is it. I think this is all over.
Howarth has done the job. He's found his touch. The whistle goes for the end of the match. And the despair on the faces of the England players can be seen. Some of them down on the ground, and Scott Quinnell and the whole of the Welsh support are absolutely delirious, and no wonder. It's been a remarkable effort by Wales to pull it out of the fire, down by 31-25, and Graham Henry there, the former coach of Auckland, receiving the congratulations as the coach now of Wales. And there the sportsmanship after a tough battle, typical rugby union. The crowd, well, look at them. They are thrilled, but nobody more thrilled than Graham Henry.
No Grand Slam for England, and you know what this means for Scotland, Bill? Scotland are the Five Nations champions.
I didn't like to mention it, Eddie, but that is a fact, of course. The fact that Wales have beaten England today leaves Scotland at the top of the Five Nations Championship, their first championship since they won the Grand Slam in 1990. But listen to the roars all round the ground here. It is quite astonishing, the atmosphere at the end of this match. The flags raised, arms raised, leeks raised, everything raised. And there the big man Gareth Thomas on the left wing, and there's Scott Quinnell, who battled away and battled away. It has been a remarkable effort when you consider really that England scored 3 tries to 2, and well, Neil Jenkins kept them in the game by gnawing away with those penalty goals. And then the final conversion, well, I'll bet Graham Henry there, well, maybe that was a little tear from the eye, but you can see how delighted he is, because that has been a remarkable effort by Wales. Remember, they beat France in Paris in one of the truly great matches by 34-33, and now they've toppled the other heavyweight England 32-31, and of course they've denied them winning another Grand Slam. Scenes here of, well, total euphoria, because I don't think we could ever imagine, Eddie, a more dramatic ending to that. And how would you have felt taking that last conversion?
I don't know. I don't know what it's like to have an ice-cold brain like Neil Jenkins. But what a fabulous day. I've got to say, though, I must just go back to the point that England gave away that penalty. I don't think that was a penalty. But Scott Gibbs, he just went into the heart of the England area where England had given away nothing all afternoon, and suddenly he was free. And just for me, that the ball came from Chris Wyatt and then it was scored by Scott Gibbs, that just sums up the courage of that team. Wow, look at that, 32-31.
And of course, Eddie, I suppose England will feel that maybe they should have had more tries, considering the work of their forwards.
They will indeed, they will indeed. But it just wasn't to be England's day. I mean, they were awesome for 9/10 of the game, and then they blew it.
32 points to 31, Wales the winners. Let's now go down and join Bob Humphries.
Well, Neil Jenkins, Lloyd's TSB, man of the match. I think you'll need a few more of those tonight to celebrate, won't you?
Thrilled a bit, Bob. I think you can hear the crowd, it was amazing, and the boys, well, what can I say, fantastic. We stuck at it, the defence is magnificent, but Gibbsy, great player he is, pulled out a cracker at the end, and, we hung on it to death.
You kicked those 6 penalties. What was going through your mind, though, when you had that conversion to win the match?
I just wanted Scott to go close to the post, to be honest, but no, I felt comfortable all day with the boot, and, say I wasn't too worried at the end. I was a little bit, but I think the old crowd would have lynched me if I hadn't kicked it, but it's brilliant. They're just so tough for all the boys and the management and the coaches and the fans and everyone. It's fantastic, Bob.
It's really going to be a great trip home now for you and the Welsh team, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's been brilliant, to be honest. I think I have to get back. My nanny very well at home, so I'd like to go back and see her and wish her all the best and things. So cheers, Nan. Thanks a lot, Bob.
We wish her well. Well, Shane Howarth, the try scorer. You must have thought you brought Wales back into it, didn't you, with that try so soon after half-time?
Oh, it's credit to Jenks, he threw an amazing pass. I mean, not a lot of 10s in the world will throw passes like that, and he did, and I just say thanks to Jenks, it was his match, he deserved every plaudit he gets.
I mean, you played for the All Blacks, have you ever experienced anything like this?
Nah, not at all, I mean, it's just great to repay the fans, they've been fantastic today. you know, we didn't help them in the first half. We didn't help ourselves, but we repaid them by just a little bit of magic from the two old fellas in the midfield.
A thought for England, who had the Grand Slam dash from them right at the death.
Yeah, I feel for them, you know, but we wanted to win the game, so you know, it bodes well for things to come, and we'll see what happens later on.
Thanks very much indeed, Shane.
Thanks.
Well, 34-33 against the French, 32-31 against England. And you thought the Davis Cup was exciting last week. Jonathan, what do you reckon?
Well, incredible, incredible. It's a fantastic game of rugby, and in the end, it's just what a time to score. You know, and what about the pressure kick, though? You know, and who else would you ask to take it? He's been fantastic today, Neil Jenkins. Best performance for Wales, you know, he's ever had, and his kicking kept him in the game. His break created the opportunity, and then his pass made the try for Shane Howarth. It's just been absolutely fantastic.
Kieran, you were looking forward to the Grand Slam party tonight.
Absolutely gobsmacked, really. Second half we played so poorly, we really didn't deserve to win the game. And obviously that man Neil Jenkins, you know, you can't give him the chances that he got all game to kick the goals. And if anything, if we can take the positives out of the game, we did start off well, play well in the first half, and if anything, it will be good for us for the World Cup to go in as Grand Slam winners and play, you know, not to our full potential. Might be a good thing.
Well, France get the wooden spoon. What price that at the start of the championship? And what price Scotland to be the champions? Gavin Hastings.
Well, I have to say that after watching the game in the Stade de France yesterday, and the tension and the excitement, that all the way through the second half, I just felt that Wales had a chance. England were not capitalising on the enormous amount of possession and territory that they enjoyed. I said at half-time, the England coach would be going absolutely daft in the change room. What he's thinking now just is quite honestly beyond me. But these Welsh supporters have been quite incredible today, and the belief that the Welsh team had in themselves, and to come and just sort of throw back everything that England had to offer. Neil Jenkins, you wouldn't ask for a more competent person to kick the winning goal in world rugby, and the class, the professionalism, the determination, dedication, whatever. It was absolutely magnificent, and for my mind, you know, Neil Jenkins undoubtedly is a hero of Welsh rugby tonight, and they'll be celebrating this victory not only in Wales, but let me tell you, in Scotland as well.
Yeah, I don't know if the Scotland team are watching it together, but I bet they're going to have an interesting evening there.
I just think that they'll be having a few of the famous crowds, the team sponsor tonight, and you know, they deserved it on the back of their performance yesterday. And England, you know, they just haven't quite come to grips with this. The games this season, and they'll be desperately disappointed.
The Five Nations Championship trophy is going to be presented actually at Murrayfield tomorrow to the Scotland team. Well, Jonathan, you thought we were giving you a hard time at half-time, but with the best one in the world, the referee could have stopped the fight at half-time. England was so much in the ascendancy. So, you can talk us through Scott Gibbs' try now.
Well, the defence had been superb throughout, and the question here, Rodber had just been penalised, hadn't he, for a high shot or a dangerous tackle earlier on. And you watch, you know, it's a simple ploy. I think you're just setting a ruck up through Rodber's tackle, and that's it. And that's great finishing then. You know, they say maybe he hasn't got pace, but the ability to step, come off his left foot and go down Matt Perry. If you just watch him, you know, it's an usual setup maybe to go hit centre field, but Rodber misses the tackle, and that's it. He's got a lot to do. The pace takes him past Dawson, and then he just steps out, and the agility to get away from Hanley. That's a fantastic try. He could have got a bit closer to the post for Neil, man. That's the only way. I'd have been pushing him from behind, but what can you say? You know, it's just.
Kieran, I mean, we could run in several opportunities that England had, but which were squandered. And you were talking about, you know, clouds having silver linings and whatnot. But given the way that Delalio, Hill back, that triumvirate played, and so many other facets of the England game, that was a game that England should never have lost.
That's true, but to be fair, I mean, everyone's aiming for the World Cup at the moment, and if you're going to win a World Cup, you have to play 85 minutes, and we didn't do that today. We played 40 minutes, played good rugby, and the second half we just let them in it. We seemed to defend our lead, which is a grave mistake. So we'll be very disappointed. But like I say, if we can take the positives out of that and go on and do better in the World Cup.
this is the end of the Five Nations Championship forever. Italy come in next year. Are any of these teams serious contenders to win the World Cup, Gavin?
Yeah, I believe so. I think this has been a fabulous Five Nations Championship. We've seen some wonderful rugby, probably more tries scored than ever before. And, you know, the teams, and we all knew Ireland and Scotland were going to struggle at the start of the season. But both these sides, and Wales particularly as well, they've really lifted their game all through this championship, and I think it's been a wonderful climax to this great tournament. I hope we keep the trophy forever now.
Well, it probably will do. Well, here's the table, to sort of exactly accentuate who's done what. Scotland champions, England runner-up, Wales 1-2 and lost 2, which, given how things started, I guess will take an awful lot of heart from, and Ireland just beating Wales, or beating France rather, to avoid the wooden spoon. World Cup, Welsh hosts. That is a great boost, isn't it? Come the autumn.
It's a shot in the arm for the game in Wales. They've come on incredibly since Graham Henry took over. They've got self-belief and confidence, but they've got a difficult tour to Argentina, then South Africa and France, and they've just got to build now on this performance and the result. It's a fantastic result for us, and I'm stunned, gobsmacked. It's just a fantastic game of rugby, and you know, fantastic way to finish the Five Nations.
Well, a good epitaph, I think, to the Five Nations. Thanks very much, one and all. It's just what an amazing day it's been. Quite brilliant. Kieran, enjoy the evening if you can. Gavin, I know you will, and Jonathan.